All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about Elite Digital today. It does use agent workspaces for Elite for the voice channel, which you already have. So you're going to be using single sign-on. You'll log in, and you'll come to this once you put in your credentials. You're going to come to this screen right here, and all I'm going to do is, for the purpose of this demo, is I'm just going to go ahead and activate so I can actually start taking interactions. So here's your workspaces for Elite. There's real quick, just a couple things to point out here. Right now, I've logged into the workspace, but I haven't actually made myself ready. So I'm not ready to take any interactions. So a couple things you might want to do is go ahead and make yourself ready. Just click that button. And you can see down here, here's the voice channel. It is not turned on. It is not turned on by default to the digital channels. It's just voice right now. In order to enable digital, what you're going to do is you're going to click this button right here. I'll just bounce over real quick so you can see it. Those are your digital channels. Go back to my home. And if you notice what happened kind of behind while I was talking, you see these icons down here? There's voice. These are the digital channels. So right now, chat's not ready. I have email, and I have, you also have SMS and social media. They're kind of, the SMS and the chat are kind of tied together because the look and feel of them is exactly the same. But we can certainly put another button here if you say I don't want to, maybe I want them separated, the SMS versus chat, that can be done as well. So for right now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a phone call in first. But before I do that, let me just explain a couple things about the actual workspace. You can change your work state. The agent can. They can go into an after call work or wrap up state, or they can go into a not ready state, and then they have drop downs for like lunch, meeting, however you guys want, however you set it up. So I'm in lunch, and if I look down here, you can see my button is it's now yellow. And I always tell people when you're looking at the workspace, think green means good. It means you're ready. So like even though I'm in a not ready status for a voice call, I do have the capability to take an email or a social. And then if I want to chat, I'm just going to click that button and now it's ready. If I want to make myself unavailable for chat or email, all I have to do is click the button and I'm just going to say, again, you can have reason codes for these as well because they may be different. And I'm just going to click no reason for now because I have not built these out in my lab, but you could certainly have reason codes there. The other thing, then I'm going to bring in a phone call so you guys can see it. These are called widgets. This whole workspace is based upon this concept of widgets. This little square here is what we call a widget. This is actually our Teams widget, and you'll get this day one. And when we build your configuration out, one of the things you're going to be asked is who's the supervisor and who are the agents underneath that supervisor? Who's the team members? It's nice. And, in my lab, I only have a supervisor and one agent, but you could have several. You can check the status. These color codes. We love color coding in Avaya. So these things will change color based upon their status. The other thing is, if I just need to call my supervisor real quick, I can just click there. Same way with agents. I'll have a whole list, or you'll have a whole list. You can just click and just call them. Just remember, you have to have the voice channel, at least in a not ready status, or, you're ready to take a call. So make sure you understand that. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and just make myself ready, take a phone call. And then I'm going to use my cell phone, and we'll go through the voice channel first, and then we'll look at the digital channels. So I am going to call this number right here. Hopefully you can hear it.
Welcome to Avaya. You have reached the workspaces for Elite Demo. Please wait while we retrieve your information from our customer database. Curtis Nunn. Thank you for contacting us. For corporate accounts, press 1. For technical support, press 2. Based on your customer location, your call will be transferred to our contact center in Denver. Please wait.
So here comes my interaction in. I'm just going to go ahead and click on it so I can accept it. You can set this up for auto accept if you want, and that way it doesn't ring at all and it just pops in. And you see I have an interaction card. It did bring up a CRM record. Now you could use Salesforce, ServiceNow, whatever. And for the purpose, again, for our lab, we use something called Suite CRM. Sometimes we'll show Salesforce CRM. And our trigger for this screen pop is actually, we're using for the phone call, we're just using my caller ID. But it could be anything, if you want it by, say, for example, Rapid Rewards number or something else, employee ID, we can certainly do that as well. So real quick, you can see up here I have my basic functionality that I might need for a phone call, like DTMF, touchtone pad. I might need to transfer. I might need to conference or consult. I can put it on hold. And then I can also do, there's other things I can do up here, like if we had configured disposition codes, things like that, we can do that as well. So real quick, let's go to customer journey just so you can see it. Customer journey is a great feature. It's one of the things you guys get right now for the voice channel. I only have the actual, we call these swim lanes. They're basically activities that are related to me as a customer, Curtis Nunn. These are all calls that I've made in previously. And, voice is, it's okay. I could click on one of these if I wanted and get a little bit more details about what actually happened. But again, for voice, it's not a whole lot of data other than the fact that you may see what agent answered the call, what was the topic in the IVR, those kind of things. It's more prevalent, really, honestly, for the digital channels because you want the transcript. And also, if you guys decide that you want to see exactly what they did in the IVR, they pressed 1, they pressed 2, they pressed 3. Or if you want to throw in, a lot of times we'll have customers that say, can you show me what they did on the web? And you certainly can do that. There's some code involved. Your web developers, we would provide them with how to write certain things, on your web page. So that's, it's another discussion, but I just want to make sure you guys understood it. Some high-level interaction details. Again, it's really just the date, time stamp. What direction was it? What's the current state, which happens to be active because I'm on a call. I'm currently on a call. And then what's the incoming phone number? Now you get that information up here, some of it, like the phone number, and also you get something what we call a VDN. Basically, it's just a transfer destination that we sent the interaction from the self-service app over. On the self-service app, you guys, for the lab, one of the things we do is we greet by name. What we do is a quick data dip or a query when a call comes in, and it goes out and it reads a record, and then it reads back the customer's name. It's a little more personalized, very friendly. It recognizes my phone number and it just pulls my name and it speaks it back. All right. So that being said, what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close this one out now that you got kind of a feel for how this looks. I'm just going to go ahead and just say hang up. And now I'm back to my home page. One other thing, and this is, you guys are going to want to do this. You see this screen, this little widget over here? This is called our welcome screen. And this could be anything. A lot of customers will just put the URL, like an intranet site or something. Anything you guys want in there. Like I said, most people they put a URL, maybe of their website, of Wikipedia, something that they want to have easily available to the agents all the time. Because you notice this one comes up and I'm not on any interaction. So that's kind of nice. The other thing, anything that pops up, you see these buttons down here? If you don't want, for example, if you say this is too much real estate, I don't want this window in this is, in our workspace screen, you can certainly click one of these buttons and you open it up in a new window, or you can open it up in a new tab in a browser window, because our workspaces for Elite is truly a web page, in other words. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to go ahead and make my chat. Let's do a chat first. I'll make myself ready. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually drag a screen across. Sorry about that. Kind of as an overlay. Sorry. This is the way I have to show it. So this would be your web page, could be your mobile app, whatever. And what I want to do is I want to chat with an agent. So I'm going to do a quick refresh. Let's do Beyond Travel. And then I simply come up here and here's my chat. Come up here. I'm going to put in my name. I've already done this quite a bit, so it already knows who I am. Now, obviously, in you guys' case, if they have, say I logged into the southwest.com with my rapid rewards information, a lot of this can be pre-populated. It knows the name, it knows the email of record. I have to put location just for demo, and then I'm just going to say I need an agent. I could do a bot up front if I wanted to ask some simple questions, but I'm not in this case. I just need an agent. Let's go ahead and slide that out. And as you can see, I'm just going to accept the interaction. And what happens is down here in this little screen right here, these are my chats coming in. Sorry about that little pop-up. Been playing with this lab all day. So anyway, so here's the chat. Now I can see what I typed. I mistyped, but I put HH. From the chat window itself, you have a lot of different options. One of the things that I like to do is look at the previous stuff, which I can do. These are all different. We refer to this as asynchronous messaging. In simple terms, think of like your text. Like if I started a conversation with my wife and I left the actual SMS window open, that whenever the new person gets in, I can continue the conversation whenever I want. It doesn't actually stop. It's just an open connection, if you will. And that's kind of what we're doing here. You can see all these previous. This is everything that I've done previously with this particular agent. Or if it went to a different agent, same deal. They would see the whole transcript, not just this interaction, but any that they've done with the chat. So let's do a couple things real quick and we'll move on. One is you can come over here and we use what we call pre-populated or quick responses. These can be defined based on what the interaction's about. I'll just click here and I'll just say I want to use a greeting. You can see it puts the greeting right here and it puts actually my name in because we're storing that. And then I can freeform, I can type additional, or I can just say I just need to send this. And that's what I did. And if you look, I'm going to drag this over again, sorry. You can see that the message came across to the customer. All right. So that's chat coming in. There's a couple other options I'd like to point out. One is there are different, you can see the details over here. There are different things that you can do. Activity body, so once this interaction is actually finished, we store that transcript, and then you can go back once we're done, and you can do a filter. You could search for it, and keywords, and it will actually bring up that recent or that previous chat transcript and let you read it, for example. There's a couple other options here. I think maybe this is it's another level of the team viewer. In this case, what we're doing is we're bringing all the people that actually have digital channel capabilities right here. So I can actually select one of these and start a chat. So for example, if I had a call come in or a chat come in and I'm an agent and I'm a Dell and I need help and I don't really necessarily need my supervisor, I just need to, reach out to a coworker real quick to ask them a question. I can do that there as well. Pretty nice feature. We'll go ahead and click home. Show you one more thing, and then we'll move on to the other channels. So it's here. So let's look at, real quick. This is one of my favorite features. So I'm in the chat right here. Let's say I'm an agent and I need help. I need a supervisor. So one of the things I can do is hit conference. And you can see the supervisor's name's Sydney. She's logged in as well. Obviously, I can't communicate with the supervisor if they're not logged in using our platform. So Sydney's logged in. She's ready. It has a predefined message here, which you can change. I'm just saying, hey, please help. I'm just saving time. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say Sydney, and I'm going to invite her to a conference. That being said, what I want to do, I'm going to drag over the supervisor so you can see what this looks like. All right, sorry about that. So this is a supervisor screen, and you can see you get a message. It's coming from Adele. I can come up here. Let me go back there. and it says, please join, I need help. This is from this agent. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to head and say select chat. And now the supervisor can see what's going on. And at that point, the supervisor has several different options. One of them is they can do a whisper. In other words, whisper means if I click it, I can communicate directly with the agent without the customer knowing what I'm typing. So that's a good feature. I have join, which means I actually want to help the agent and the customer at the same time, which is a nice feature as well. But typically, the agent's going to need some assistance real quick. They might ask the supervisor a question, and then, they'll ask the supervisor, send them a chat message. Supervisor responds, and then they're done. They don't need any further help. So that I like whisper. Join is not bad. And really that's an interaction that the agent's just struggling. Supervisor can help out quicker. You could do that, and that's join. Or if I'm a supervisor and I'm tied up and I really can't do anything, I can't handle this right now, I could do simply decline it. And that's what I'm going to do. And they can see it went away. So hopefully this is all making sense. It's pretty straightforward. It's very user friendly. There's a lot of things we can do in here. Additional things, you can do page pushes. So if you guys have URLs that you could just quickly push to the agent or to the customer, you can do that as well. This is a quick overview of chat. It is really nice. I'm going to go ahead and complete this chat. And to do that, what I'm going to do to make it nice and simple is I can do, let's just do end. Click send. And last but not least, let me show you this. Once I ended the actual chat, you can see we actually have a quick survey we build in so they can actually rate the interaction. I don't think I did a very good job, so I'm just going to say send. And there you go. So that is chat in a nutshell and how it ties into our workspaces. I'm going to go back. The other thing I did want to point out, I don't know if you noticed, but when I was doing the chat, it put me in a not ready state for voice automatically. I'm going to go ahead and enable it again. So it puts me in so I don't get a voice call while I'm working on a chat. So, and it's the other way around as well. There are ways you basically configure it to say, take a phone call. If they're on a phone call, don't give them any digital call, digital interactions like chat or email, SMS. Same kind of deal. All right, so that is that. The other thing I wanted to mention before we move on to maybe email or SMS is we actually send the chat transcript to the customer as well. You can kind of see it right here. Just drag over my email. It's kind of a nice reference for the customer themselves. All right, so let's look at the email channel real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and bring this back to the welcome. Right now I'm in a voice not ready state, so I could certainly make myself ready. And let's do that. And then I go down here and I see I've got my email channel up. So what I want to do is I'm just going to click send. I had a message already ready, an email that I already typed out. So I'm going to go ahead and send that. Just give it a second. It should come right in. All right, you can see I got a new activity now. And you seen that little pop-up message? So what that's just telling me is I've got an interaction that's came in, and I need to make sure I accept it. So I'm just going down here. Here's that email I sent in. And again, I have an interaction card. Here it comes in. I get, here in my main window, I see that the email says, I'm missing points or whatever the case may be. And then I do an automatic greeting up front. And again, I have options with this as well. I can go over and do what they call a predefined, a bookmark, bookmark predefined messages. We call them suggested responses. I don't have any configured, but again, what we're really getting after is, build it out to make it more easier for your agents to actually use the solution. There's just different, I'm just showing different options if you click around. So you can see different ways to view the data. So I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to say reply. By the way, this does support pictures, files, all the other stuff that you typically see with an email. And I'm just going to say reply all. And I might type something in here real quick. Whatever. And click send. Send and complete. Does a spelling checker automatically. And away we go. Now the interaction's gone. So that's email. It's pretty straightforward. Comes in. We can look at keywords if you need it routed separately. So we can look at things in the body or in the subject line to figure out where we should actually route the interaction at, to which group of agents. So that's email. All right. So next we're going to look real quick. These last two won't take very long, but I'm going to go ahead and send an SMS in. Say I wanted to say, I got a question about something, so I'm just going to go ahead and send that in. That one comes in pretty quick. I go ahead and accept it. And there is my SMS. Now, if you notice, this looks and feels a lot like that's like the chat. And the reason, remember I mentioned earlier, was the button down here, that the chat and the SMS were very similar. It's just a different channel. So it comes in. I said, hello, SWA. I have the same options. I can do quick responses. I can do pictures. I can do everything that I typically do on a chat. And again, I've got all my data over here to the right. I could bring in a supervisor if need be, or whatever the case may be. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, please hold for a second. Now, I noticed I did put in the actual phone number that was coming in, just nice and easy. I didn't mention this earlier. We can also do screen pops on these channels. I don't have it set up in this, but if you guys needed to open up a record somewhere in a CRM, we could certainly do that as well. So that's that one. Let's just go ahead and say complete this one. I'm just going to grab this one, end it, hit send. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to show you guys one other thing while we're on here. So what I want to do is I want to show you how you can multitask. So when I say multitask, what we can do is if I bring up, for example, we'll throw this over here real quick so you can see it. For example, here is Facebook. Everybody's pretty familiar with this. This is a page on Facebook. If I wanted to, you can also tie this into like Facebook Messenger, not Twilio, but Twitter, different social media resources. So what I want to do is I just want to send a message. Move this window up a little bit. Sorry about that. I'm going to type in Denver. Let's go ahead and move this out of the way. And you can see now what happened was I'm already on a SMS, but there's something else that's happened. I'm going to multitask. So here is that social media channel. And again, I have some options here. I could do predefined, suggested responses, all that stuff if I wanted to. I'm just going to go and say, I can respond this back, get this conversation going back and forth. If I need to switch between two, I can certainly do that. All I have to do is pick the right one. Oh, it looks like there's quite a few coming in. This is actually a lab, and it looks like somebody is in the lab sending emails. So this does happen occasionally in our labs. So now you're getting a bigger picture of the fact that there's another interaction out here on the email channel. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to get rid of that one because that's somebody in our lab that shouldn't be in it. But now I'm just bouncing back and forth between these two. Get rid of that one real quick. And hopefully there won't be any more come in. So you got kind of a firsthand experience of that. Anyway, so I've got my different channels, and you can see on the interaction card what it is. This is SMS. This was off Facebook, and you get the transcript. So let me go ahead, grab this one, and just go ahead and say I'm done with social media. Here's this one. And I'm just going to wrap this one up. And then the last thing you have to do on chat, you send it in. If I want to finish it, I just hit complete. All right. There's one other thing I want to show you, and we'll be done. What I want to show you guys now, a couple things with the supervisor screen that aren't in the actual agent workspace. As supervisors, obviously, you need a little bit more information. So they get some what we call widgets additional. So what I'm going to do is let's go ahead and go back to home. Let's look at my agents. So if I need to see, I need to be able to monitor what my agents are doing. So they have what we call this the My Agents widget. And so I can see what agents I'm responsible for. If they're actually on a call, we can certainly, we'll see that activity. This agent that I'm using is not currently on an active interaction. Otherwise, you could see it in the duration, things like, and if I use disposition codes. The other thing, if I want, this happens quite frequently. If an agent forgets to go, maybe they forgot to log out, or maybe they need to go to lunch and they're on a call and you want to just go ahead and do them a favor, you can do that. So I can do finish work because this agent's already in and not ready. If I make my agent, let's just go ahead and make her available again so you can see the difference. As you can see, her work state changed to ready. I could actually just call her from here if I wanted to. It's one other option. I can put her in a not ready state, and those are predefined. I think the default's like supervisor forced, but you can make them not ready, or you could actually log them out if you wanted to. The other thing you can do in here, by the way, is you could actually serve what we call service observe. So if they're on a phone call and the actual supervisor wants to listen to the call and maybe see what screens they're on, that is an option. I didn't show it here because on the voice call, but I just wanted to kind of point it out. That's an option. You're also one of the last thing, and we were finished. There are things we call these notifications or broadcast messages, if you will. So if I wanted to send, say I'm a supervisor and I just need to send a one-way message out to, and you could do it to more than one. You could broadcast this message out to the entire team if you wanted to. I don't have that many agents in my lab, but let me move this over. If I click send, you see this blue banner? That comes up on both. Here's the agent workspace, by the way, and here's the supervisor. So if I come over to my agent, they get the message. And the nice thing is, if I say the agent stepped away for a second and the supervisor sent them a broadcast message, we always give you what they call a notification. And you can see this one up here that just draws the agent's attention, and it'll say, here's a notification. So any of the interaction, and it's not just for the broadcast message, but it's for everything. It's kind of a running log of what's been going on. The other thing it does, and I'll just say it, if you will, we have there's a thing called redirect on no answer. So for example, if I'm an agent, I'm at my logged in taking calls, and I get up and walk away, but I didn't put myself in not ready. The system is going to deliver that agent a call, and then it's going to, after so many rings, it's going to do what we call a redirect. And when it redirects back to the queue, if you will, it's going to put that agent in a not ready status automatically, so they don't get any further phone calls. And when it does that, this actual notification up here, there'll be a ticker on it. It'll say 1 or whatever. They'll click on it and they can actually see that, they had a call didn't get answered, that they had what they call a Rona. It will also, obviously put this green down here. This will go yellow. And same rule applies for the digital channels. We can set up what they call redirect on no accept, because we don't actually answer. We do what we want to accept on a digital call. So that, in a nutshell, is it. I did show you voice, chat, email, SMS, and social media. So those are the big 5. You have the ability for any of them. You can mix and match. You can change up multiplicity so that an agent can say, well, you can handle 2 emails at once, or you can do 2 chats at once. And it's very flexible, and it's however you want to administer it.